Hey, let's react to last night's Spurs draft in the first round of the NBA draft, and then bring you some live react from the Spurs practice facility.
You are Locked On Spurs, your daily San Antonio Spurs podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hey, welcome back to Locked On Spurs. We're here on the Locked On NBA Network. I'm your host, Jeff Garcia, Spurs writer for Kansas 5 San Antonio. Glad to have y'all back. Hope you're having a great day and letting the dust settle after the first round of the 2024 NBA draft, where your Spurs picked Stefon Castle and then traded number 8. More about that later. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Well, what are we talking about today? You can see on your screen right there and give you some quick reaction to the Spurs draft last night out in Brooklyn. First round's over. Moving on to second round later today. And they're going to be joined by Vinnie Vinzetta, my colleague at Kansas 5. We're asking some Q&A back and forth about what the Spurs did with number 4, number 8. That's coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs. But first, quick recap. Yeah, Spurs, we all know by now, picked number 4, Stephon Castle at UConn, and then picked Rob Dillingham, number 8, then traded him to Minnesota for some future round draft picks. More on that in just a few seconds. But first, with Stephon Castle, look, my reaction to that simply was, okay, went according to plan. There was not really a big surprise. And we're just talking only about number 4 here now. You look at all the mock drafts, like even Vegas odds, it was sky high. The Spurs are going to take Castle, and it came accordingly. But this is a draft where you could have just, outside of the 5 spot, the center spot, Wemby, whatever they picked would have filled the need, whether it be point guard, Castle, shooting guard, small forward, power forward, whatever it was going to help in this rebuild. But they elected to go with Castle at point guard. And look, not a bad pick. It's a safe pick. It's a smart pick that if you want to triage it, what the Spurs to-do list is this offseason was to address the need for a point guard, and they got that and probably more. Look at that, Castle coming off a championship with UConn, right? Averages 11.1 points per game, 4.7 rebounds, 2.9 assists in 34 games, shooting 47% from the field. He was the Big East Freshman of the Year. Still young, 19 years old. So he's not even hitting his peak. Not even close to that yet. And I mean, he's coming from a winning program. He's coming from a damn good coach, Hurley, out in UConn. So he's coming in with the pedigree ready to go right now. And you look at Castle, and beyond just the fact he played UConn, forget he played with Team USA at the 2022 FIBA Under-18 America Championship team. Won a gold medal with that Team USA. So you got a winning program in UConn, wins a gold medal with Team USA. He has that winning mentality, and I think that's what the Spurs need, especially the point guard spot. Now, I got a chance to talk to Brian Wright after the Spurs picked Castle, and I asked him, okay, we know the shooting mechanics, we get that. We know, he still needs to fill out physically, we get that. But what do you like about him that's not stat related? Doesn't have to do with X's and O's. He told me that he likes that Castle's very stoic, kind of even keel, but that he's the biggest hype man, that he's so happy for his teammates when they succeed. And he said that really stood out for him. Another thing interesting too is that everybody knew that the Spurs were scouting Castle at UConn, but did you know, and Brian Wright said this, that they've been scouting him since high school. So he's been on their radar for quite some time. Obviously, he's on the board, number 4. You grab him, you move forward. But look, he definitely is a player that I think will boost that point guard spot tremendously. No knock on Trey Jones. But the big question now is he the point guard for the future? And I think that's something we need to address at length in a future episode of Locked On Spurs. Is this the guy that's going to be Wemby's running mate? Got to factor that in. Looking at what he did, he's an 11-time Big East Freshman of the Week. Again, you're seeing this winning mindset. He was named to the 2024 NCAA Final Four All-American, All-Tournament team. Again, more accolades and more of that winning mentality. And overall, you like the pick. I think it was a very safe pick. nothing fancy, nothing out of the ordinary, nothing out of left field at number 4. We'll talk about number 8 in a bit. But all in all, I think it was a good pick at number 4. I would give it an A, a solid A. It helped the Spurs at what they needed most, and that is at the point guard spot. But what likely stands out for the Spurs and why they selected Castle was defense. Defense. Look, the Spurs, let's face it, on the perimeter, they were getting cooked. They were letting you saw guards as having tremendous nights. Yeah, pick up probably a perimeter player to the opposing team, and that perimeter player, guard, whatever, probably had an amazing night. It's probably a big reason why they selected Castle as well. So you got a great defender outside. You got Wemby in the interior. That's not a bad 1-2 puncher there on the defensive end. 6'6", 210, big guard. The Spurs have been searching for their big guard for a while. Josh Primo, big guard, didn't work out. Jeremy Sohan, big guard, didn't work out. For a while, it was Malachi Branham at point guard. Didn't work out. They would Trey Jones. Again, no knock on Trey Jones, but now they have a 6'6", 210, 19-year-old. So all in all, you get some defense. You get a winning mentality. You get a guy that's coming from a good program, UConn, coached well at UConn. Gold with Team USA. You big guy at the perimeter, and the Spurs did well. You got to give him an A+. Stefon Castle, that was a solid pick at 8. At 4. Now, speaking of 8, they select Rob Dillingham. You would think that would have been the perfect complement. Okay, you got a defensive guy, guard. Now you get an offensive guard. Dillingham didn't work out. Big trade. Spurs send Dillingham to Minnesota for future first round picks in 2030 and 2031. And those are first round picks that Minnesota will have in 2030 and 2031. There goes to the Spurs. It was shocking. And everybody in the media room was kind of like, what just happened? I just remember a silence kind of falling over everybody in the media room. Like, what just happened? And yeah, I was there too, and they made the pick. And again, I said, okay, fine. According to plan, that was a lot of mock drafts. It was going to be Castle, more than likely Dillingham, or, he was always solid at number 8. And I said, okay, just the way it went, Spurs 4 and 8, they picked accordingly, and they flipped it. So you got to think, and let's put it this way, Spurs fans were just in shambles on social media. It was bad. But you got to think that they're looking forward still. This is a sign that the rebuild is going to continue. This is a sign that this is still a slow cook for now. I say that because the only rational explanation why you make that deal, you get a Rob Dillingham, you flip it for 2030, 2031 future first round picks, is there's got to be a bigger move down the road. There has to be, whether it's this offseason or maybe even as soon as the trade deadline next season. But I still think they're playing their cards for 2025. That has to be the answer right there. That's a stacked draft. The free agent pool is going to be a lot deeper with bigger names, and the Spurs not only flipped those, Dillingham for those picks, but they also got some cash. They opened up $7 million in a cap space as well. So you figure they're playing the long, short game. You're not talking years from now, but we're talking maybe just one more season. Not to say that, they're going to be bad again. Look, there's nowhere else to go but up after a 22-win season. But you can only figure that's the only round. Look, I'm with you, Spurs fans. I was scratching my head like, what did they just do? Why? Well, what? But you got to think that with Wemby repeating himself a lot lately that he wants to win now, this move has to be for the near future. Not saying long-term future, but maybe for the near future to get Wemby, the Spurs, cooking in the right direction and get out of the rebuild. For now, the rebuild still continues. For now, the rebuild is ongoing, but we cannot close the book on the move yet till we see what they do. So they still have the rest of the offseason, and yeah, maybe give them till the trade deadline. We'll see what they have. I think worst case scenario, give them till 2025 offseason draft free agency. Then we'll see what we're going to do. But yeah, for a brief moment, Rob Dillingham was a Spur. Now, Brian Wright was asked during the media session, okay, so why are you amassing all these picks? He says they like picks, that is always a smart thing to do. And he left it at that. We don't really add much to it. Just said that's just the right thing to do. The smart thing to do is to acquire draft picks. I get it, the currency. It's just the rich getting richer. The Spurs getting rich and richer with draft picks. I know that's frustrating for Spurs fans. They want to see progress now in the form of a sexy pick or a swing for the bat, fences kind of trade. where you're bringing a big name star player, and that could still be down the road. We don't know yet. So we'll see what the Spurs have cooking. But let me tell you, if they don't do anything in the near future and they keep on doing what we saw with the number 8 pick in the 2024 NBA draft, then yeah, then I can see pitchforks coming out. But as of now, you got to figure that Wemby's on board with this plan. They're probably not going to make any major moves that are going to impact him and his development and his wanting to win now. So I feel you, Spurs fans, seeing Rob Dillingham get traded for 2030 and 2031 future picks, not good. Left me head scratching, left you head scratching, left a lot of Spurs fans head scratching. But let's just see what they do with that. But overall, I'll give the Castle pick an A. I give the trade an incomplete. Just an incomplete. We don't know what they're going to do. We'll see what they do. Now Castle will be in San Antonio this weekend. It'll be his first time coming to San Antonio. I never visited here before. They'll roll up the red carpet for him, and rightfully so. But yeah, and the more thoughts on Brian Wright afterwards. He did say that they're aware of the shooting mechanics thing, but they said they feel that can be corrected. That they like, and he brought up in the words like leadership, scouting him early, whatnot. So that was the Spurs guy from jump. They got him, and they're moving on. Part of me believes that another reason, maybe I don't know, and not like anybody told me, but maybe they traded away Dillingham. Maybe they saw one of their guys that they were targeting get off the board, namely Saloon. They saw Charlotte to pick him, and they said, "Okay, he's gone. We got our guy Castle. Let's move forward with him. Let's maximize what we can in a draft that's considered weak, and get 2 future first round picks in 2030, 2031." Look. We'll see what Brian Wright has cooking. But as for now, I give that just an incomplete. I just don't know what they're going to do with it, but we'll find out soon. All right, I'm done talking. When we get back, we're going to be you're going to be joining me and Vinnie Vinzetta. We recorded a segment on getting our more in-depth reaction and Vinnie reaction to what the Spurs did at the 2024 NBA draft. That and more, that's coming up next right here on Locked On Spurs. Hey, I want to talk about GameTime.co. You want to go to GameTime right now. Go set up that account. Get yourself an account right now. Why? Because GameTime is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the GameTime app actually go down the closer they get to the first pitch. You got killer last-minute deals. They got all-in prices, views from your seat, lowest price guarantee. GameTime takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Another reason why you got to go get that Game Time app and make an account ASAP. Look, the app is easy to use, simple features. You can do so many things with a Game Time app, such as last minute tickets. You got flash deals, zone deals, views from receipt from the venue, the lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection. What more do you need? Well, speaking of that low price guarantee, well, they guarantee it, or they'll credit you 110% of the difference. And last minute deals, you can save up to 60% off buying last minute tickets for sports, concerts, comedy, theater, whatever you like. And if you need a ticket, you want to go to Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDONNBA for $20 off. Game Time. Download it right now. Last minute tickets, lowest price guarantee. I want to talk about Mudslingers Drive-Thru Coffee. Go there right now. 2404 Thousand Oaks Drive in San Antonio. Go there right now. Open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. You need a latte. You need a cold brew. You need a simple coffee, the signature drink, the Mudslinger coffee. What about mini donuts? They got that too. They got so much. The menu is great. Friendly staff. They're a proud local sponsor of Locked On Spurs and a proud community member of San Antonio, serving San Antonio the best drinks in the city. What else they got? Oh, I don't know. They got something called the Alien, which is in honor of Victor Wembanyama as part of their Lightning Bolt series. Oh, by the way, heads up on that. They're now going to use Lotus Energy, that's 7 power plant extracts. Those drinks get you going through the day. They supercharge your day. They keep you going, or they recharge you if you need that energy boost. Now, just a heads up, that's going to be the default. But if you do need Red Bull, they'll have that on hand for you. You just got to tell them, and they'll make it with Red Bull. But basically, it's just a way for them to make more drinks, be flexible with that. So again, Go there right now, San Antonio. Open every single day from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Mudslingers, follow them on social media at Mudslinger SATX. Do that right now because life is too short for bland coffee.
A Jedi uses the Force. To subscribe to Locked On Spurs, pass on what you have learned.
So, hey everybody, Vinnie Vinzetta alongside our good friend Jeff Garcia from Locked On Spurs here at the Victory Capital Performance Center. Night one of the 2024 NBA Draft is in the books. The Spurs in at number 4 and number 8 tonight in the first round. I'm sure all of you know about the drama. Let's go immediately to that 8th pick tonight, yes. Jeff. It was Rob Dillingham from Kentucky, and then we learn he's headed to Minnesota. Yeah. The Spurs in return get a 2030 protected and a 2031 unprotected draft pick. What'd you make of all that noise?
What I made of it was simply this: there better be something cooking down the road, because to trade away the number 8 pick and a guard, Dillingham, who could fit in seamlessly with his team, to flip him for future picks 20, 31 years from now, all I can think of is, look, assets are a premium. I get that. But you got to start turning these assets around for something that'll help the rebuild now.
And then we got to the post-draft press conference tonight with Spurs GM Brian Wright, and that's when Spurs PR advised everybody that he would not be talking about the trade that went down at number 8 because it's not yet a league-approved trade, even though Commissioner Adam Silver announced during the ESPN broadcast that the trade had gone down. So some of the assembled media, I took that they weren't very pleased about that, didn't like that at all. So what did you take from that he's not going to talk about the specifics just yet?
When can we talk about it then? That's my first thought. Like, it's going to happen. It has happened. Silver said it did. So when can we talk about it? I don't know. I mean, could it be a situation like, you know, they got to get their ducks in a row to figure out how this is going to work out and then have their official statement. But just the fact that they went radio silence on that, I don't think that was a good look. They should have answered it. It's a hot topic right now with Spurs fans. Spurs fans, they want to know why the trade was made. I think it was a little bit of a disservice for the fan base to not address it.
Does it tell us that maybe something else bigger is cooking, perhaps,
I hope so.
In any sense there?
I hope so. I hope something's cooking because, look, you have the rest of the offseason. You have, once the bell rings for free agency trades, all that stuff, all the good stuff. Yeah, hey, we're rock and roll. But you got to think this is a move for sooner than later. You hope, you're crossing fingers. That's the only thing that makes sense, is this move was made for a bigger move, hopefully sooner, that'll help Wemby in this rebuild go forward instead stall, because as of right now, it feels stalled. Yeah.
Well, to start the night, the Spurs were in there at number 4, and the pick was Stefon Castle, the freshman. I guess, is he a guard or a forward, or basically a guard?
Guard combo,
out of the University of UConn. He's a strong finisher at the rim. He can get up there and have some amazing dunks. He's known for playing some lockdown defense. What do you make it of that pick for the Spurs at number 4 in round 1?
My first initial reaction was, all right, expected. You know, that was many of the mocks said Castle's going to go to 4. Spurs going to pick him up. He had a phenomenal workout here in San Antonio. Brian Wright told us that they've been scouting him since high school. Did I hear that correctly?
Yeah.
Since high school.
Yeah, they went way back in the film archive.
They went way back to high school to scout him to now. He was the Spurs were actively scouting him at UConn, talking to the head coach out there. Not a surprise they picked him. Look, this was a situation where the Spurs, outside of the 5 spot, Wemby, they need help anywhere. They picked a 3, fine. They picked a 4, fine. A 1, fine. 2, fine. Whatever position they picked, I think it was going to help address a need. Now, Castle addresses the need for point guard depth. He's big. He can get to the rim. Brian Wright told me that he likes that he's very stoic, that he doesn't really show his emotions too much, but that he celebrates his teammates, even though Castle was not a part of any winning play or big-time action. Yeah. So, overall, this is a very Spurs pick, but a safe pick, and you hopefully he works out. But the big question is he the point guard of the future rebuild? That's a big question.
Yeah, he's a winner from the University of UConn as a national champion. We were talking earlier because it felt like late in the year of this past season that the Vassels and the Sohans maybe figured it out with Wemby, because we feel like they have. Can they in turn help make the transition easy for him to work with Wemby as a rookie?
Well, look, we talked about this too. How long did it take for the Spurs, last year's roster, to get going with Wemby?
A while.
It took them a while. So, but in paper, it should work out, right? Hey, I'm Castle. I see a 7'4" guy out there. I'm going to go throw it at him. That should be it and get out of his way. But look, you're going to give him time to adjust to playing in the NBA and then get adjusted to an alien. So that's going to take some time. And then, can he earn Pop's trust to run the point guard spot? You brought it up. Do we see shades of maybe Tony Parker, teenager, getting thrusted into the position? What does that mean for Trey Jones? Because that was his spot. Yeah. Now he gets shifted to the bench. I think Spurs fans are gonna be okay with that. Yeah. But I really want to see how they use him. Brian Wright told us that they like his versatility. So we'll see if they slot him and pigeonhole him at a point guard spot.
This is Emily Swallow, and you are listening to Locked On Spurs with Jeff Garcia.
You know what I found myself thinking? I was thinking back to the days of David and Tim and the Twin Towers in there and winning championships. And I know the league has changed, but I thought, wouldn't Wemby and Donovan Clingan from UConn be special? But again, it's not the way the game is played. Yeah. But I started thinking 2 7-footers. I mean, right?
Yeah. Hey, look, Pop is known to buck the trend. When the league was all about full speed, it was 4 down Tim Duncan. Yeah. When it was, don't take 3 shots, take a lot of 3 shots, it was take mid-range shots in. So, a Twin Tower version 2.0 would have been phenomenal. But as much as Clingan would have been awesome, it's still the issue of he's not a 4, he's a true 5. Right. Wemby excels at the 5 spot, the center spot. Yeah. Do you shift? See, I think that would have made more mess than maybe the Spurs need right now. Yeah.
We still have, of course, round 2 of this draft on Thursday, but last one for you. I want to bounce ahead to 25. Jeff, the Spurs potentially have 4 first-round draft picks in the first round in 2025, and that's supposedly the star-studded draft. I mean,
he's in that draft too.
I feel like they're positioned well.
Yeah, they're very positioned well. And we're not forgetting the Atlanta unprotected first-round picks, a deep draft. I could see the Spurs being big, major players in 2025 offseason. And I wouldn't even be surprised if come the trade deadline next year that they're active as well, getting prepped for that big offseason. I know Spurs fans are disappointed. Tables were being thrown out the windows, chairs were being flipped over for this draft. But I think if you play the long game, which is not that long, it's just next offseason, the Spurs could be major players in acquiring players, young players in that draft, the current development players, and this team could be back to the mountaintop and a powerhouse in the NBA.
And I want to add to that, and we'll finish up here, but after the Dillingham trade was announced on social media, whether it was Spurs fans on Facebook or Twitter, the world is ending.
The world is ending, everybody.
Fire everybody. Yeah. They don't know what they're doing. Exhale. Relax. I mean, it's not the end of the world. Sun's coming up tomorrow. I think they know what they're doing. In fact, they may have just made the pick for Minnesota. That's what this deal could have been.
Sure. And another thing that just popped in my head, just a random thought is, what if they just dealt number 8 because one of their guys was off the board already, and we all know who that could have been, Saloon out of France. Maybe they saw him go. Sense. They saw him leave, and they say, there goes our guy. We got our guard already, Castle. All right, who's willing to deal with us? Minnesota, yay, you got yourself a guy, give us some picks. But again, Brian Wright, was it just me, or was he just kind of salivating over the fact he acquired more draft picks?
I felt that way.
Right? He was like, those assets, he literally looked at all the media, those assets, they're really good. Yeah. So he loves accumulating assets, and if you saw him tonight at the press rate, that smile got even bigger, didn't it? And he got more assets.
Yeah. It is brutally hot out here. It only cools off when somebody opens the door over there, and there's like a rush of AC comes at us. But we'll wrap this up. Good night for the Spurs. Round 1 of the 2024 draft. They'll finish it up tomorrow, and then we'll see what free agency and what they have in the pocketbook holds for this summer.
Basically his financial status, right? You basically just look to you for any time.
Then they won't be getting anybody.
There we go. Yeah, sorry, Spurs fans.
Thank you, my friend.
Yes, sir.
All right, Jeff Garcia, Locked On Spurs, Vinnie Vinzetta from Ken's 5. We're going to close it out.